It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you.
Mic check.
We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
Good morning. Mic check. Mic check, mic check. Okay. What's up? Sorry. D. Bartlett, what's up? Sorry to keep you waiting. Your time is very valuable and important to me, and I mean that seriously. You ever think you have your stuff together and you don't? What's up, B-Man? Here I go chewing this gum again. Let me, I want to do some housekeeping. I'm going to use this Urban Electric program from last week as my gum holder. What's up, Christy? What's up, Debbie? What's up, B-Man? What's up, D. Bartlett? Good morning. What's up, Megsy? Sorry for starting a little late. I know some of y'all be like, Mika, stop apologizing. I just do it. I do because I appreciate y'all. Thank you for joining me bright and early on Monday morning. I thought I sent the newsletter out. I don't know who I sent the newsletter out to initially. But shout out to the small group. I don't know, but hopefully you got the newsletter this morning telling you to tune in. Yeah. Good morning. It's Mic'd Up with Mika. I want to say we're going to talk affordable housing. I'm excited. We have a member from CAJM. That's the Charleston Area Justice Ministry. We have a representative from CAJM joining us. And if you got the newsletter this morning, you would have, let me just flip it real quick. Boom. Bow. Yeah. We're going to have Rose Stump from CAJM. All right. Rose is already texting. Rose will be joining us at 8:40. So if you're tuning in to talk about this, to only hear about Rose, and you want to go fix your coffee or eat your oatmeal, you can do that. Hopefully you'll stay tuned because we're gonna do a little bit of a news roundup as we like to do. A little bit of a news roundup, then also approach some of the recent stories in our local newspaper, the Post and Courier. We're gonna look at the recent reporting about the housing. What's up? Y'all, look at this. Or should I say, what up? All right, Caroline, we going, you know what I mean? Thank you for the follow. We're going to have you next in the new year. Can't wait. What's up, Michelle? How you doing? So yeah, 8:40 a.m. I'm going to drop the link so Rose can join us. She looks so pretty in this picture. Come through, makeup. I've been in spaces with Rose. She has a really nice disposition, really nice attitude. Let me switch back real quick. Good morning. So yeah, start off a little late, I think. What's up? Good morning. Everybody say good morning to Caroline. That's that Twitter historian, y'all. Throwing flames. Good morning, Brandon. Shout out to my friend Brandon. Y'all say hi to Brandon too. All right. So I wanna start off with a sponsor. This live stream is officially and unofficially brought to you by, you can't even see it, Queen and Comb Raw Honey. Shout out to my B-Man. When I'm talking about my B-Man, I'm talking about Queen and Combs. A founder, I don't know if you want to call yourself a CEO, lead B-Man, chief executive B-Man. I don't know what you go by, Tom, but Tom is a real one. I'm dead ass serious. You can get his honey, I think, at Roots and Shoots. Keep me honest in the chat, Tom. I really want to say this seriously. On a serious note, Tom, you really pour into me in ways that actually help me show up better in this space. So I want to say thank you seriously. And the fact that you do dope things and you care about Charleston, you care about the environment, you care about the community. You won't let me litter my gum out in the streets because you don't want me to choke a turtle. Your compassion and whatnot, I really mean it. And it's been a ton of y'all been very, very, very supportive. A ton of y'all. I can't say it enough. I want to say thank you. I wanted to start off with gratitude. I wanted to ground this space and let you know I appreciate y'all. Last week was tough. Shout out to everyone who emailed and texted me after the fact, after the whole urban brouhaha or whatever, Urban Electric situation. I want to say thank you. I really appreciate the care. And that's the kind of community we want to create on Mic'd Up, okay? So again, if you're just joining, good morning. Hey, Brianne, how you doing, Brianne? Good morning. Hey, El Cool J, it's good to see you. So again, at 8:40, we'll have Rose from CAJM. She is an associate organizer, and she's on the housing committee with CAJM. And we're going to be talking about their organizing efforts. I shared a post on Instagram that shout out to Treva, who leads things over at CAJM. Treva sent me the post, and I just said I'll just repost it because I've been meaning to talk about affordable housing. That's last week, but couldn't really, didn't have a grasp on it the way I wanted to. So Treva and Rose Treva and Rose also accommodate my baddie neurotic last minute Hail Mary request. I got to do better with that. Caroline will definitely has benefited from an advanced invitation. But last night I got home and I was like, yo, can somebody from CAJM join? And Treva did her thing. She's like, let me check. And she always does that. She always throws alley oops for sure. So 8:40. All right, let's get to some news real quick. So this is the not using my library card right now for just to be a little bit more expedient or expeditious. What's the word I'm looking for? All right. This is the post and I wanted to make it like one page. Let me download it. Lord, y'all don't understand how many PDFs I gotta like erase. I hate downloading. And all right, so let's open this up real quick. The front page of the Post and Courier today. Really wanted to show you yesterday, but we're gonna say that for another live stream. The past like Saturday and Sunday's Post and Courier, I had questions. I might not have had answers, but I had questions. Hold on one second. Okay, hold on one. Okay. Okay. Oh, Rose just gave me a correction. We'll correct it when she gets. All right, I got it. Okay. All right. Sorry, y'all. Just pull that up. Here we go. Bam. So this is the front page of today's Post and Courier. Beginning to look a lot like Christmas. A lot of y'all stepped out yesterday. What's up? Shout out to, hey, Australia Fuega. I got you. Thank you for the feedback. Australia Fuega, I appreciated it in the inbox. If I was short in my response, I was just trying to rush to do something else. Thank you so much for your support too, for gifting subs. I appreciate you so much. All right. So, I got you on the raid stuff. I got you. Beginning to look a lot like Christmas. A lot of y'all hit the streets yesterday and were out enjoying the Christmas parade downtown. It was like a bunch of Christmas parades all over the area, I believe. So this is the front page of the Post and Courier, the Christmas parade in the front page. And then over here on the far right, top pick for USC president backs out. Wow. That's I need to get a bomb. I need a bomb. But I don't want to be too like war. Like, I don't want to sound like a war hawk with bombs dropping. So maybe something else that's more explosive, an explosive sound. Or maybe just a breaking news. Yeah, I'll get a breaking news sound. Top pick for USC president backs out engineer. Yeah, you're going to step into a mess. All right, here. This is interesting. I want to dig into this, probably not today, but I want to dig into this on a later live stream right here. GOP seeks momentum after wins. And they cite specifically the Columbia mayoral race, right? So the Columbia mayoral race could provide a playbook. And I believe that race was nonpartisan, right? Was it? No. It says I thought that race was nonpartisan for some reason. But we all saw how things fell, right? We saw Clyburn come out and endorse Tamika Isaac Devine. You saw Obama come out at last minute and endorse Tamika Isaac Devine. It wasn't enough, right? So when Republican Daniel Rickerman first approached Walter, Wetzel last winter about running for to represent Deep Blue Columbia as mayor, the veteran political consultant, write that name down, Walter Wetzel. All right, the veteran media political consultant immediately went to work. Right, so we're gonna talk about those shifts, especially with the redistricting, census data. We're gonna talk about that, but probably not today. Yeah, it was Christy. Thank you. You would know, Christy. Yeah. Roots and Shoots Nursery in West Ashley. Thank you, B-Man. If you want to cop that, honey. All right, we're gonna take a look at the state newspaper's front page. real quick. All right, boom, bow. Okay. EPA cites concerns about Westinghouse atomic fuel plant is on the front page, right smack dab. Yes, I just did gloss over Bob Dole's death. I did. I have nothing to offer you on that topic, but CNN, CBS, MSNBC, all covering that. If y'all want to know more about the life and times of Bob Dole, I am uninterested. Midland school vary in frequency of active shooter drills. Now, this is coming off the heels of quite an eventful last week, and I don't mean that lightly. We know about the Oxford school shooting in Michigan. Very unfortunate set of events. I want to clarify something, too, on Twitter. I made a tweet, and I didn't take it down or nothing like that. I'm not going to. I made a tweet. Someone photoshopped. I just want to, just like for transparency reasons, I felt compelled to share this. So somebody photoshopped. I could just go to it. And I also want to do some housekeeping with the Urban Electric in preparation for getting ready for Rose. Getting ready for Rose at 8:40. Rose from CAJM to discuss affordable housing. I wanted to, let me just go to my feed. Hey, all right. Oh, thank you, Caroline. I appreciate that. Let me see. Let me just go to my. So I want to just clarify this on this platform. I wasn't trying to glorify or make light of the horrific shooting. I gotta scroll down. The horrific shooting. This right here, right? I think why I responded to this Photoshop, which is really is gross in and of itself, the Photoshop. But I think what my tweet said, this, to be honest, looks like one of those gross Palmetto State Army holiday billboards. It really was a comment on gun culture, how gun culture and the violence of gun culture has kind of been just like seen as just normal. It's normal to pose. And we saw it this weekend. We saw tons of lawmakers post Christmas cards with the entire family, children, small children at that, grade school, elementary school age children, all the way up to the matriarch of the family or the patriarch of the family, all toting assault rifles, high capacity assault rifles. And it was more of a statement about our gun culture. And it's very weird. Even though I'm born and raised here, it will never not be weird for me to see people that comfortable with their little daughters and their little sons, their little children carrying assault rifles. That will never not be weird. And the fact that this is, it's a lot of things going on in it, right? So hopefully y'all didn't think that I was making fun of this, like literally, because sometimes it looks like my tone really does strike a chord with some people, especially mediocre white men. This weekend it proved to be a thing. Anyway, so and pivoting, and I'm gonna stay on that story real quick, and then I'm gonna do some housekeeping about Urban Electric. Yeah, I'm not going to take it down. No, no. Yeah, if Australia Fuega. Good morning, Joy. Good morning, hey guys. Good morning, okay. Love you. Okay, good to see you. Good to see you. Hey D. Australia Fuega. I don't know. I just don't. The rigid left and nuance and all that. It's just lack of nuance. So I wanted to have the conversation. This was a really interesting tweet. Y'all know, hey, what's up, this Justin? Y'all know that, well, shout out to Jessica. She's not on the live stream right now. What's up, Denise? Good morning. I love that y'all got manners. Y'all got house training and saying good morning. Thank you, Twitch fam. Love it. But y'all know that Radley Balco, shout out to Jessica who gifted me not one but two books, authored and co-authored by Radley Balco about policing. Radley Balco for the Washington Post wrote extensively on the state of policing, the increasing militarization of policing here in South Carolina, starting from about 2015 for a couple of years. Shout out, Australia Fuego. Thank you. Y'all, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And so Radley Balco is someone who I do follow, libertarian for sure. I've consumed more content that features Radley Balco, so I really got a better sense as to just what perspective he comes from, which is important to me. But this was really interesting. He wrote this, he had a thread about this. So he tweeted that, and I agree 100%. My mentions have been flooded with left-leaning people reprimanding me for daring to suggest we should be careful about holding parents criminally liable for crimes committed by their kids. Couldn't agree. Let me tell you, we gotta think on this, right? And as a person who responded somewhat favorably to the parents being held accountable initially, I thought really quickly, like, hold up, this gonna backfire. The way the right loves to weaponize Chicago, gun violence in Chicago, gun violence in blue Democratic stronghold cities. You know this is going to have some major blowback, and we've seen this already. We've seen even stand your ground laws be used in really weird and funky ways. We've seen black mothers get jailed for firing off a warning shot when being confronted by a violent ex or a violent partner. We've seen how these gun laws do not. The Second Amendment does not always extend to black and brown people. Think Philando Castile, right? So like when we think about holding the parents accountable, think about how it really is going to be used, not in this instance, but how it's really going to be used in more everyday situations, right? Now I will say, no. Now I will say, you leaving your gun unlocked and a kid getting it, yeah, they gotta be like, that just gotta be a law on that. Like, they got to be a law on that. If you are an adult and you purchase a firearm, there should be an expectation of a certain level of safety that you are responsible for. And that's not what I'm seeing at all. And so I think that's one, you can argue that. But if you talk about like charging parents with manslaughter and terrorism, I don't know. D, you dropped something in the chat over here on Twitch. You said in this particular case, I think this situation is right on point to hold him accountable. I think the school officials put him back in the class. Yeah, but then I hear you. It's going to be, let me just read this tweet. Yeah, yes, this is an unusual case, but if we dispense with the general principle, as many are suggesting we do, more broadly for gun crimes, I can assure you that the people most often targeted won't be white NRA-loving parents in the suburbs, and that's 100% true. But I think we live in a culture, and again, I'm admitting that I also respond in ways that y'all do initially, and I just have taught myself to like not resist the urge, but I taught myself to sit in that moment of what you agree with, and now do the research, now do some critical thinking. That's kind of how I do it. Nothing deep. I don't just whip out volumes of philosophy or nothing like that. I just kind of think and sit with it first, and then come up with like some what I feel. Of course, Twitter helps. Other people on Twitter, might even mention some really salient points like this one by Radley Balco. I don't always agree with Radley Balco. I don't always agree with libertarian values. But on policing, Radley tends to be policing. Yeah, he tends to be on point. Yeah. Brianne, let me see what you said here. Maybe not hold the parents accountable, but the gun owners accountable. Absolutely. At some point, right? At some point, I do think that the school, I think the school has some responsibility too. If you have like a spidey sense that a student might be on the verge of violence, I'd rather be overreactive. I'd rather overreact in some way that's not going to be like unlawful, right? Maybe there's a way to say, hey, can we have so-and-so, can we have Bobby come and sit with our counselor for at least the first half of school if you don't want to take him out of school? I don't know. It seemed like there could have been something to really keep the conversation going, being that his parents seemed like they weren't interested in holding him accountable or helping him, right? They didn't want to take him out of school. The mom wrote, LOL, just don't get caught. They bought the gun. They were very proud and bold on Facebook about showing that they gifted the gun to the young gentleman. So yeah. Thank you, D. I don't know if it was wisdom as much as just seeing people rush to be right or rush to make a point. I could only imagine after Bob Dole died, how many people ran to the Twitter. You know how I hate that shit. Running to Twitter just to like dance on graves and shit. Be the first one with a hot take. Nah, no bueno. All right, so again, good morning for those joining me. For those joining me this morning, we will have Rose. Rose just texted me and told me she is no longer officially with CAJM as an employee, but she is on the housing committee. So please pardon the mischaracterization of her role with CAJM. Please pardon that. But at 8:40, because we got to do a news roundup, at 8:40 we'll be speaking with Rose from the Housing Committee with CAJM about the affordable housing crisis here and their recent organizing efforts. As if you know, and I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pull it up in a different way. So if you follow me, if you follow the shadow band, the perpetually shadow band, Charleston Activist Network. As I mentioned earlier, I shared CAJM's post yesterday evening or yesterday in general, and they outlined they do a great job outlining. It's very festive and appropriate for the season. They outline the housing crisis. So we're going to jump into that. Let me switch the camera up real quick because I want to do some housekeeping. When I was outlining the unfortunate event planned and facilitated by the Urban Electric Company. Beautiful lights, beautiful gowns, beautiful lights, beautiful gowns, beautiful sconces. One thing I did was I kept referring to Winslow Hasty, and I felt like I wasn't being accurate with who he was. So I just really wanted to just read from his bio and leave it at that, so y'all know who he is or how he likes to be represented. So I think of course, he is president and CEO of the historic Charleston Foundation, right? And so let's just read it. So I want to just make sure I kept calling him a number of things, and I want to just read from the bio that he likely provided to Urban for this propagandistic event on historic preservation. All right, Winslow Hasty is the president and CEO of Historic Charleston Foundation, a nonprofit organization. Don't let that shit fool you. We know how to look at nonprofit culture now, right here in Charleston, right? Nonprofits sometimes kind of can anesthetize you and like, oh, okay, they don't make any money. They're just no. Nonprofits in this area wield a lot of power, including especially preservation societies and historic societies, right? All right, so let me read it again. From top, Winslow Hasty is the president and CEO of the Historic Charleston Foundation, a nonprofit organization that champions the historic authenticity, cultural character, livability of Charleston through advocacy, stewardship. Stop your fucking lying. I'd probably be more effective if I stopped doing the loser game show sound, but I can't. I just can't. Okay, so yeah, Hasty began his career in San Francisco as a preservation consultant at Carey & Company Architecture and as an urban planner and preservation specialist at the city of San Francisco planning department. A native of Charleston, Hasty returned to his roots as a chief preservation officer at the Historic Charleston Foundation. Following a national search, Hasty, I love it. Following a national search, they were like, no, let's just go with the dude we know. Following a national search, Hasty was chosen to lead the foundation as president and CEO, ushering in a new era of heightened advocacy, engagement, and strategic programming to address preservation, livability, and growth issues facing Charleston region. He holds a master's degree in historic preservation from the University of Georgia. Got their ass beat, right? Didn't they just get their ass beat by Alabama? Let me stop. I was rooting for Georgia. University of Georgia, and bachelor's degree from the University of South at Sewanee. University of the South at Sewanee. What's that school? In his active civic life, Hasty serves as the board of directors of the Magnolia Plantation and Gardens, a historic site outside of Charleston. The board of directors of Preservation Action, a national preservation advocacy. That's Winslow Hasty. All right. Livability. I see you. I'm going to come to the chat in a second. Let me just see if I can find something else that, let me see what y'all said. Thank you, Australia Fago, for dropping a comment about mental health in the schools and resources there. B-Man, yup, you got what I'm saying. Let me see. Also, them meeting with him in a group. Oh, you're talking about it's a little bit of a lag. Okay, it's a little bit of a lag with the comments. I got you, Australia Fuego. Let me see. I want to get this right. There's something else I want to just make sure I get this right. Let me see. Okay. So yeah, I called him a plantation heir, and I wasn't quite sure if that was accurate. It is. So an heir to a plantation to me is just not the most ideal person to facilitate a conversation on historic preservation. I'm not saying that you can't, but Magnolia, nor any of the big plantations in this area, so think off 61, have really demonstrated a willingness to do more than cosmetics or like really performative programming around addressing their horrid past. Those plantations are not gardens. They are labor camps. When oftentimes you hear people say you wouldn't get married, would you get married on Auschwitz in regards to talking about plantations? Some people might think that's a stretch. I know some people are very protective of the history that is and a lot of people have gone way overboard with using the Holocaust and using Jewish survivorship and using that history, that atrocity. People have been using that to score political points, and to make some incendiary comments. I do not want to do that, but I will say, I've discussed here and on Instagram, you cannot talk about what transpired in the Jim Crow South and during the height of the plantation economy, right? The birth of modern day capital, the birthplace of modern day capitalism. You can't talk about that without to acknowledge the Jewish Holocaust is appropriate in this instance. And you wouldn't get married on an Auschwitz at a concentration camp. Why would you get married on a nicely manicured labor camp where rape took place, where family separation took place, when exploited children labor took place, where a myriad of atrocities, whipping, torturing, lynchings, all took place in some way, shape, or form on these labor camps. And these labor camps were designed to subjugate black people, to treat them as subhuman species. They were here to just be exploited for whatever they could offer and demeaned. And so when you have a person representing those interests, as I said in real time at the event, to me, your conversation's already off, right? But we understand that the preservation regime here in Charleston works to kind of placate us and kind of, play in our motherfucking faces. And I feel like Urban and Winslow specifically were playing in our faces. But as I already talked about on Friday, there has to be a white political will to do something better, to actually challenge the way these rooms are curated. This event was supposed to be private. I was Trojan horse into it. And while it was emotionally overwrought, I'm very grateful to Fletcher for Trojan horsing me in there. And also, it was a learning experience. But I really would, again, I want to compel white viewers, you have to do better. If you're sitting in a room that's curated and is supposed to center historic preservation and advocacy and all that other stuff, you got to ask, where are the people of color? Where is the community? Where are other interests? Why is a plantation heir leading this discussion or one of the leaders of the discussion? You got to ask those critical questions, right? What's this? I don't know what that is. What's popping? Okay. Do we still do field trips? Not necessarily for history, but yeah, they do all that stuff. Boone Hall, Pumpkin Patch. Yeah, not me. All right, here we go. Let me flip it back. All right, so let's go. Let's get back to, what time is it? Okay, so in 8 minutes, I'm gonna keep saying this, 8 minutes, we're going to hear from, Rose is gonna call in to Mic'd Up, and we're gonna talk to Rose about the affordable housing crisis in Charleston. Ooh, I keep doing that. All right, so we're gonna do that, but let's go real quick. I don't have it open. To YouTube, and yeah, that parent story was interesting. I think after Rose bounces out, we're gonna probably talk about gentrification in general, and some clips about that. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Let me see if there's any like real quick. I wanted to make sure I get some of the local news and events out the way. Please sit tight. Less than 8 minutes. We're gonna have Rose here. So this is Live 5. What we doing, Live 5? What we doing? So many ads. That's how you know. Oh no, there's a crash on the Ravenel Bridge. That's a shame. Oh man, sorry if y'all caught up in there. I'm so sorry. All right. Let me see if there's anything here I want to hit up. There was something. Not that. It was a redistricting story I think I wanted to hit on with Live 5 real quick. And then we'll get ready for Make Way for Rose. A little more. No, it's not there. Not there. Not the way I thought. Let me see. Wait, here we go. Ty B. I really hate the way this website works. Here we go. I wanted to play this because we're going to continue this conversation about redistricting, especially when we get back to those mayoral races and whatnot, the shift in power, the GOP gaining momentum. We're going to definitely dig into that. But let's watch this real quick. It's going to be a little ad. And then we're going to get ready for Rose. So many ads. Jesus Christ. All right. Jake Gyllenhaal has a new. All right.
Before South Carolina's Senate takes up redistricting today, the chamber's president will likely step down to take charge of its most powerful committee. Senators expect Harvey Peeler, the chamber's longest-serving Republican, to step into his new role as the chairmanship of the Senate Finance Committee. Republican Senator Thomas Alexander of Walhalla is expected to go unchallenged and take over as the new president.
Wait a minute. I clicked the wrong story. Oh, I guess. No.
This change of power has been put into motion following the death of former Senate Finance Committee Chairman Hugh Leatherman. Members of the House will return to the redistricting vote today at noon.
Okay, so that was a quick story on the redistricting. I'll close out Live 5. Let me get back to YouTube. We're going to go to WLTX. And Columbia. Yeah. Boom, boom. All right. A lot of holiday stories, y'all. I'm not really into it. I'm not a Grinch per se, but a lot of it is just, I don't know, a lot of philanthropy. Y'all know how I feel. I'm trying to get things that are relevant. No, Lotto. Sundays are hard. Sunday news days here locally, it's I don't know if they just whiff or there's nothing going on, but the news and Monday morning is super not riveting. All right, let's get ready. I'm gonna send her this link, and we'll get ready we'll make way for Rose, and then we'll hop back out after the interview, and we'll discuss more about gentrification and housing in general here in the Low Country area. So let me go ahead and send her this. All right, y'all quiet in the chat. Where y'all go? What's going on with y'all this weekend? What was popping this weekend? A lot of parents in the chat that y'all were y'all doing the holiday parade thing. Where's Anchor? I was on the struggle bus this morning. Okay, Spotify, we get it. I was on the struggle bus this morning, and I'm getting right though. Okay, I'm gonna invite Rose. Copy link. Okay, so yeah, and then we'll clarify some things. All right, so she can join us here. I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb because my mama will be calling here, trying to be cute. My mom is like that mom from the Geico commercial. Oh, you know that your father's. We've got squirrels in it. Squirrels in the attic. Oh, here, hands busy. Yeah, I forgot, y'all. You know what? I gotta start acting like this is a TV show. El Cool J. When the TV's on, you watch your news or what have you. You ain't responding or interacting with. You're not necessarily interacting with the host the way that perhaps you would hear. So yeah, we'll put that on. Little wait music as we get prepared. I got you. I appreciate y'all. Kind of got a little ahead of myself. All right. You know what? While we're wait, let me exit out of this real quick. And let's look at the headlines that hopefully we'll talk about. So these are 3 headlines that I wanted to lift up that were recent reporting from the December 1st, December 2nd, and November 30th. So this December 2nd one here, Charleston County to designate $30 million property for affordable housing, right? This next headline, North Charleston neighborhood wants land returned to community for affordable housing. So that's written by Ricky Siafa, and another one's David Slade. And then this third one right here, written also by David Slade. Charleston Housing Authority offers county $1 million for an acre of land on the peninsula. So hopefully we'll get some clarity on some of these aspects of these stories. I'm not going to be asking Rose about these stories like line by line, but I want to ask about the priorities in terms of fighting for affordable housing. Christy, you said that we skipped the parade in Columbia and drove around. Yeah, free donuts. Drove around to get our free donuts. Yeah. I got you. Yeah, I don't know. It was just so hot. Like here, it was like 70 something degrees. Like I had shorts on all weekend. So like it was different. It was just didn't feel, I guess that's life in Charleston specifically maybe. I don't know. But it just didn't feel too like festive. Yeah, but good for you. I'm glad the whole family is vaxxed. I'm happy to see a lot of people getting their children are getting them booster shots. It's important. All right. One more minute or so. Gonna have Rose join us. Oh, look at her. On time. Rose,
good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Y'all, wait, hold on. Let me make sure everyone, can y'all just either drop a thumbs up emoji if you can hear Rose say something.
Good morning, y'all.
Good morning, Rose. Drop a thumbs up in the chat, y'all. I know you can't see Rose. You can't see the Twitch stream. However, they are very, typically my peeps who watch are very tuned in. And I've been playing you up, getting people excited for your appearance. How are you?
I'm doing so great. I'm so honored to be here. Really appreciate it. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I know you and I have been in rooms here and there, but honestly, I would love to get to know you better during this interview to learn more about your work. Yeah, you're getting a lot of good morning. Thumbs
hi,
up.
Everyone.
Yeah, Michelle Brandt says, miss you.
Oh my God. Michelle, I hope your check got to the mail. I had to order some new checks because I don't have any of those.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. I appreciate that. I love when y'all know people. I love when my community knows each other. So that's dope. That's really good. So thank you so much, Rose, again for joining us. This weekend, I saw Treva specifically in CAJM has been active online about housing. And so you did text me and tell me that you're no longer even though you're no longer with CAJM, as a staff member, you are currently on their housing committee, correct?
Yeah. I'm still plugged into the housing work. So as of about a little over a month ago, I'm not on staff, but I'm doing the Grinch campaign for social media and just still very invested and interested in this Affordable Housing Trust Fund campaign.
Oh, cool. So before we get started, just introduce, tell people more about yourself, whatever you feel led to share. Can you just tell people about who you are and your time here in Charleston?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, y'all, my name is Rosemary Stump, go by Rose. My pronouns are she and her. And I have been in Charleston for about 3.5 years. And I actually moved here specifically to become an organizer with CAJM. So I was up in school in North Carolina. And when I heard about the really cool work that CAJM was doing, I wanted to join it. So I applied for a job and just moved to Charleston to become an organizer with them. And it's, for those of y'all who know about CAJM, it's been incredibly fulfilling work. And in my time at Charleston, I've been hammered over and over and over and over again for the incredible need for justice and the incredible length the elected officials here and everywhere, of course, will go to maintain the status quo. So before moving to Charleston, I've been in the South all my life. I'm from Tallahassee, Florida, and everyone always makes fun of Florida, which I can understand. But I think that's not very fair because we're living in South Carolina, so a lot of the same dynamic.
That's right. Yep.
But yeah, so I kind of cut my teeth in organizing in the farm worker movement down in Florida, and then kind of kept that work going up until when I lived in North Carolina. So yeah, that's a little bit about my history, kind of how I got involved in organizing and how I got to the Low Country.
No, I really appreciate it. You actually hit all the points that I would like with someone to hit, like how'd you get here? How'd you get hooked up with CAJM? Where you're from, Southern roots, all that's important. I really appreciate the work that you have done here. So are you still working in like maybe a related field, or you don't want to say? You can definitely say, nah, it's private. But yeah.
Yeah, I am. Okay. And I'm also doing some personal training on the side too. So I'm doing some grant stuff, some social media stuff, and doing some weight neutral, body positive personal training. So if anyone,
hold up. We might have to have you back. We had to do a face-to-face interview. Like we had to get you on the Zoom. Are you into nutrition and oh.
Yes, I am. Well, technically, I'm not. I'm not sure if I have to teach nutrition. So, I mean, if any lawyers on the line, like, don't
okay, sorry.
But yeah, I have taught like group fitness classes and done personal training for around 8 years by now. And I took a little break from it to really focus on organizing. And now I'm really excited to be back into it. I love movement, and I think the fitness industry is a lot of BS, and I'm interested in changing it and helping people just move for the sake of movement.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that, like, what really personally motivates you to do this work? You said you moved to this area specifically to join CAJM. Like, what personally just motivates you to work with organizations like CAJM for the types of work that they do? Yeah,
I think, I've always been a justice seeker. My parents set some really good examples for how to move through the world and like how to look at elected officials and be critical of them. And specifically, I really wanted to do housing work because I always remember my mom's experience during the 2008 housing crisis. She, like a lot of people, lost her job during the recession, and then her house went into foreclosure. And it wasn't until I really started organizing, like I knew the story and I knew the effect it had on our family. Like, of course, it was a very traumatic time in our family and in the country, but it wasn't until I really started organizing around housing with CAJM that I went back to her and got this whole story of how like she got this loan through, I think it was called like Capital Loan or something. And it was basically just like a foreclosure mill. So she was, a few months late on her mortgage, which happens when you lose your job. And just within a few months, like her house got foreclosed upon, and she had an incredible hard time. Like even when she managed to scrape together the funding to pay it, they were like, oh no. And basically like her loan had just been sold and sold and sold. And the person who wrote her loan ended up being like this unqualified 18-year-old who they were just like, it was like a mill for foreclosures just to screw people's lives up for a profit. So, I mean, that was an incredibly formative experience. And I think also speaks to the importance of being grounded in the history and stories of your family, which I learned a lot organizing through CAJM. Yeah,
it's very powerful. I want to say thank you so much. The lens you using personal experience to perhaps examine a larger problem that's systemic and that's rampant, especially following the 2008 crisis. I think that was I think that's tremendous that you bring that perspective to this work. And I look I look forward to seeing any other work that you do in this area. So let me ask you this. You mentioned social media several times, and someone who doesn't have a name in the chat but has a number. I'm not going to read the number, but they mentioned the Grinch campaign that I shared and whatnot. Was that your work? Because you mentioned social media a couple of times. Did you create that campaign?
I did.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, tell me more about what compelled you to go that direction. I mean, we get it. Tis the season. Tis the season. We love a good Grinch story. But no, tell me more about what went into that.
Well, I can't take all the credit. Treva Williams, shouts out Treva, did ask me to do it.
Shout out.
And I don't know if it was her genius idea or the housing committee. She would probably give the credit, even if it was her idea, she'd give the credit to the housing committee as an organizer does.
Yes.
But yeah, they have this idea to do like this Grinch themed holiday campaign to really put the pressure on Charleston County Council. And I was really excited about it. And it's been really fun just like thinking of creative ways to emphasize the inaction that county council has taken on this housing special and ask. And there's a lot of great Grinch graphics out there. No, that really illustrate.
Yeah, no, the font was on point as well.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, right. As a content creator, I details I pick up on them. It was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, one thing that CAJM that I've always initially so I've never really paid attention to organizations like CAJM because CAJM is not like it's not. There are other like kind of like either CAJM adjacent or similar organizations like CAJM throughout the country, but I've never really paid attention until I came to Charleston, primarily because of it's the holy city. So I wanted, I've been aware of churches with the Black liberation, like either ethos or liberation type of message. I've seen Black churches mobilize toward change and justice. I never really saw churches like that maybe skewed maybe either predominantly white or organizations or coalitions that are cross faith, right? I really haven't been I haven't seen that up close and personal. I'm saying all this, I'm rambling a little bit. Can you tell me more about like what CAJM does or tries to do with keeping the ministry part in focus, like being collaborating with other faiths or other faith leaders, mobilizing for justice? Can you tell us more about that and how like CAJM holds elected officials accountable? If that makes sense. I know it was a long question.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's so interesting you ask that, the way you framed that question, because I didn't actually grow up in a church environment. And one of the reasons, so when I moved to the Holy City to do this interfaith type of organizing, a lot of people in my life were like, oh, what? What's going on? But the legacy of justice work moving through the church in the South, especially through the Black church, is so profound and so seminal to doing any sort of liberation work in this region, I believe. And so CAJM's kind of motto and our mission is, no matter what your faith tradition is, we are all compelled by those faith traditions to do justice work. And what the status quo has done is convince thousands of people that quote unquote politics are somehow removed from their faith. And the status quo does a good job of manipulating people. And you all would probably not be surprised by the amount of people who say things like, oh, this, my faith doesn't have anything to do with politics. And that's literally all faith is. It's about people. And, Jesus was a radical liberation.
Come on.
Yes,
yes.
I'm sorry to break the news to people if this is news, but yeah, Jesus wasn't some white, blue-haired or blue-eyed pacifist. He was Black, he was brown, and he was flipping tables, and he was really, really pissed at the status quo and the way that people in power were ignoring the cries of the people. Does that sound familiar?
Come on.
I mean, not a lot has changed, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, CAJM's whole thing is like, even if we come from different faith traditions, even if you don't come from faith tradition at all, you're compelled either by that tradition or just by your inherent connection to humanity to do justice work. And justice work is holding the people in power accountable. And generally speaking, I'm sorry if I'm rambling.
No, you're a good talker. Please talk.
Oh, thank you. Congregation members, like generally, they see church attendees do it. We do a good job of doing mercy work, and we do a good job of maintaining our own personal walk with whatever spirituality we have. So, like, we're great at doing food drives, and we're great at doing backpack buddies, but we have to do those things over and over and over again. And justice is asking, why do we have to do food drives? Why are people hungry in our communities in the first place? You know, justice work is about asking those systemic questions and holding the people who can actually make a difference accountable. And it's a shame that CAJM and groups like CAJM get a lot of flack for being bullies or not being nice, which is boggles my mind, because who said we were trying to be nice?
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh! I mean, this sounds like me. Like, I love this. Exactly. And like CAJM, and what's the other group up in the Midlands? Not DART.
More justice.
More justice. More. They get that flack too. Like,
I know.
That is like, it's really odd to me. And but one thing I cannot like ignore or downplay is, and someone I think LQJ you referenced it lightly in the chat, the people power that CAJM has been able to like invigorate. You ever like the Nehemiah actions were like eye-opening to me. Like, I'm like, wow, what is this? But it's that interfaith, like that over. It's like this ability to reach out to as many audiences, or not audiences, congregations or communities as possible. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got some pushback. Is not. Let me see. CAJM is not independent of local Zucker groups. Okay, somebody Anna just dropped that in the chat. We talk about the, I guess, I got you, Anna. I know. I got you, Anna. We're going to get to it. We're not going to put that on Rose right now. That's not like a gotcha question. We're going to talk about the mobilizing for housing, but we will keep it honest, Rose, when you break apart. But basically, we definitely think critically of nonprofit industrial complex here in Charleston, and we try to interrogate power and hopefully encourage some of these organizations to divest from problematic sources of funding. But that's not a conversation for you. But No, I got you, Anna. Thank you. Sorry, I'm talking in the chat and talking to you at the same time.
Good.
All right, cool. So what I want to ask you is, let's go back to the recent headlines around housing. What is CAJM making noise about? Like, what is the Grinch saying? What is the Grinch post trying to tell people? What are we trying to do with CAJM, with housing?
Yeah, absolutely. So way back in 2016, I believe, is when CAJM started calling for an affordable housing trust fund. And I'll get into what that means and what that is exactly and the history, but how we landed on that, how CAJM lands on all of the policies and issues that they work on is through a grassroots process. So it sounds like someone in the chat mentioned people power. What the process of choosing something to work on looks like is CAJM does hundreds of what quote unquote house meetings throughout the community in the fall. And what those house meetings are for is volunteers basically have listening sessions where they uncover what their friends, colleagues, community members, neighbors, fellow congregation members are worried about. So we would ask things like, what keeps you up at night? And in the, I want to say, fall of 2016, hundreds of stories were told, and they're still being told, about how people just cannot afford to live in the Low Country. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. People can't afford their rent. They're getting evicted. And so from there, we, said this is something that we're going to bring to our big assembly, the Community Problems Assembly, where around 600 people attended. And those people overwhelmingly voted to address lack of affordable housing in this region. And so then it was off to the races. We did a grassroots research process where we met with experts and officials and researchers and people throughout the country doing housing justice work. And what we found was that a proven solution that communities all across this country use to address the lack of housing is an affordable housing trust fund. And I don't want to get into the weeds, but basically there are distinct funds established by a municipality that receive, and this is very important, ongoing dedicated sources of public funding. And that funding is used to support the production of affordable housing, the preservation of affordable housing, and it's used to support just getting more people into more homes. And they work. There's almost 800 of them throughout the country. Greenville has one. Asheville has one. I mean, Charlotte has one regionally, where Charleston's very behind this housing trust fund thing. And we have gone through a lot of iterations with this campaign. So originally we were asking, for a regional approach, we were looking at all the municipalities, and that was really daunting. So we started kind of focusing on Charleston County to really take the lead, as you would want a county body to do. So we were really asking them to look at their own budget and invest in this affordable housing trust fund. And then we did the referendum, which narrowly failed. And so there's been a bunch of iterations, but we really stayed clear on a couple things, that we want the Charleston County Council to put a affordable housing trust fund allocation in their budget, so it is funded now and forever. And we want and need that fund to primarily build 80% AMI, which is annual medium income homes and developments.
Okay, I appreciate it.
And right now, the ask is for $20 million of the next round of American Rescue Plan Act funding. So for those of y'all who haven't looked at the post, or haven't heard of the ARPA funding, basically Charleston County is getting millions and millions of dollars from the federal government that is very, very flexible. And we are calling on them to use some of that funding to kickstart an affordable housing trust fund. And we also are asking for $10 million from their budget as well.
Okay. Let me ask you this: how much? Because again, I want to be mindful of the role you play. You're no longer on staff with CAJM. I guess I'm going to ask you not a personal question. Just how? Let me see. I want to phrase this in a way that's not. I'm not trying to be controversial or anything like that. So the concerns being lifted up in the chat is that that there might be other influences with CAJM. How do you address, maybe if you do have an analysis about nonprofit industrial or the nonprofit culture in Low Country and how that impacts organizing? Do you have any thoughts about that, about what you think CAJM could be better at in terms of defining relationships with maybe powerful stakeholders? I don't know if that is something you can answer, but that's something being lifted up in the chat, and I don't want to ignore that about maybe a middleman type of element being set up to get can CAJM ensure that the funds get to the people versus it going through other things? I don't know how much you can speak to on that, because I didn't send you that as a possible topic, so I don't know how much you can speak on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really appreciate whoever is bringing that up in the chat, because I completely believe that the revolution will not be funded. Audre Lorde tells us that the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. And the nonprofit industrial complex is an evil force, and it is designed to keep the status quo as it is. The whole concept of charity is just a way to byproduct of neoliberalism, and it's in a lot of ways keeping funds and gatekeeping funds from primarily, very wealthy white people, kind of locked away in these little foundations, and you have to fit this very, very specific model and way of existing and behaving to actually access those funds, and it's just a way to maintain the status quo. So I'm with that absolutely. Right. Yeah, and I think, CAJM, like a lot of other nonprofits, can always do much, much better of interrogating that. And I don't know if it's exactly what the folks in the comments are getting to, but it's the housing fund. So, let me just say this real quick, and whatever you can answer. Again, I want to make sure I validate concerns in the chat. It says the Low Country Housing Fund, and then someone went on to say the fund would have set up a nonprofit which distributed the funds to developers to build the housing. So I don't know how much of that you were familiar with, that part of the Low Country House Fund. I don't know. Yeah. So that's true. How affordable housing trust funds, and what I kind of always say about affordable housing trust funds is, this is not radical. It is not. It is a very free market. I mean, it basically incentivizes developers to build affordable housing developments. Usually, developers struggle to make a profit off of affordable housing development. And what affordable housing trust funds do is they basically make it so developers can actually make money off of these developments. And that is a despicable part of the culture that we live in, that to even discuss like profits of developers and people's lives are on the line, or people getting evicted on the street in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, it's disgusting.
Right. I got you. Right.
So yeah, that is kind of how the funds work. They are very flexible, so they can be used for a variety of things. But the unfortunate fact is that we don't have the housing. We don't have enough developments. We don't have enough density. We have a lot of single family homes that folks can't afford to get into. So yeah, I mean, it is a pretty moderate policy ask. And that's true. And
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if you had something to say, but I wanted to ask you. So how can what I will lift up is that CAJM has been able to amass a lot of people power. Let me ask you this: who do you think CAJM is accountable to? Like, who holds CAJM accountable? In general, I guess. If you're still there, Rose?
Oh, hello?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't know if you heard my question.
Yeah. CAJM's accountable to the people. The folks who make up CAJM, there are hundreds of volunteers that make up CAJM. And those people are folks who ride the buses and are made late to work because we have a dysfunctioning public transit system. Those folks are the people who can't afford their rent checks. Those folks are the people who struggle with police violence and the inflated police budget of our community. The people who volunteer to go to county council meetings and to tell their stories in house meetings, those are the people who drive decisions in CAJM. Everything that CAJM does comes back to the people and the stories that people share about injustice in the Lowcountry.
Okay. My final question comes from the chat. How can people help? What do you think? And it could be even directly with CAJM, or maybe as someone who has organized here and you're passionate. I can tell by how you are able to speak to the issues, and you're really thinking on your feet. And I want to say that I really appreciate you being here. But how can folks help this issue, perhaps directly with CAJM or outside of CAJM, if you have anything to offer with that?
Yeah, I mean, in the spirit of what folks are uplifting in the chat, my personal go-to is how to help and how to stay plugged in is to do mutual aid work. I'll plug the Lowcountry Mutual Aid Fund, and if you care about divesting from things like foundations and interrogating the nonprofit industrial complex, give your money to individuals. Spread your money around your community and your family and your neighbors who could use it more than you could. So that's number one. When it comes to CAJM's affordable housing campaign in particular, I would definitely plug the upcoming county council meeting on Tuesday. I believe it's at 6.
Okay.
Yes, it's Tuesday or tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow. Yeah. I got you.
So CAJM's doing a press conference. I want to say at 10:30 that folks can sign up for using the link in CAJM's bio on Instagram. So let's say attend that press conference. Start going to county council meetings. If you are willing to speak in favor of affordable housing, whether that's an affordable housing trust fund or just generally, do that and just stay plugged into what's happening locally. I mean, there was a college student who I want to say she was a freshman at CFC when she started coming to these county council meetings and getting plugged into CAJM's housing work. And she was just like so shocked at the way that county council members spoke sometimes and like just the complicated nature. She was like, I feel like I can't access this information, like what's going on. And it's supposed to be like that, right? It's like, it's supposed to not be accessible. It's designed that way for a reason. So to the best of your ability, stay plugged into what's going on locally and speak out.
Is there any work that you personally are involved with? You're no longer a staff member with CAJM. Is there anything you are passionate about that maybe perhaps my viewers, listeners would love to engage in and help support you? Like, is there anything you're working on?
Well, I would, again, plug the Lowcountry Mutual Aid Fund. And personally, I'm, like I mentioned earlier, very passionate about making movement and exercise not fat phobic and as plugged out of white supremacy as possible. So yeah, like I said, weight neutral, body positive coaching is something I'm very passionate about. And just generally being one with your neighborhood and one with your community is something that I always encourage folks to do, because we live in an incredibly isolated time, and I think the status quo benefits from us not building relationships with the people around us.
Well, I think that's where it starts. I think that's a great place, a perspective that you need to have when engaging in justice work or any type of organizing here in Charleston. Rose, I want to say I'm glad to know you, and I'm so appreciative that you chose to spend some time this morning educating us on what CAJM is organizing for right now and housing justice. You have unintentionally sparked a larger conversation about this, but that's what we're here for. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We complicate relationships here with power. That's what the work is about. And I know that that's something that you probably agree with. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for your time this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the conversation happening. It is vitally important that it happens.
What, and also somebody, whoa. Oh, yeah. I'll talk to you offline. But Rose, please don't be a stranger. Seriously, I hope that you and I can continue to talk and maybe remain in community. Please don't be a stranger personally or to the mic.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Rose.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, take care. All right. Oh, I didn't mean to cut her off. I really appreciate that. All right. Let me reorient, because I'm a little disoriented. How about y'all? Okay. First of all, I want to say this is definitely honor. I want to definitely say thank you so much for bringing your perspective here. That is welcome. Was a little caught off guard a little bit. So I was trying to adjust, but also lift up, legitimate concerns brought up in the chat. I think we definitely need to figure out a way maybe to do that. I don't know. I don't want to say more gently, because, I think someone that has more power and influence, I definitely I want us to get in the habit of asking difficult questions, asking challenging questions in real time. But that's not, Rose is no longer with CAJM, and don't really know how much she was involved with some of the more substantive decision making at CAJM. Not making any excuses. I think if anyone knows my work, I have not been organizing with CAJM. I have not joined CAJM directly for an action. I've attended an action, but I've had my concerns regarding CAJM, and hence the not distance, but hence the like, okay, y'all doing your thing over there. I see you. We cross paths. There might be some, I've had some sort of kind of distance with CAJM. Maybe some of it rooted in some of the concerns Anna brought up, some of them not. But I want to make sure that we move in a way. So if I sidestep a question, don't think that it's cowardice, or don't think that it's me not wanting to ask tough questions. I just don't think that Rose has those answers. I don't think, and I think a lot of things that we talk about here, especially with Anita Zucker and Ben Navarro, they have like enmeshed themselves. They have embedded themselves in so many aspects of our life here. It's hard to not expect them to be present. So, and in my time with Cypress, I knew right there, how funding is done here in the Low Country. I got a better perspective. I didn't even know that Cypress took money from CCF until like my midway point into working for Cypress, like over 6 months into it. I didn't know that we took money from CCF, that we have some overlap with Zucker and whatnot. And we meaning when I was with Cypress, the Cypress Fund. And so a lot of this is just new to a lot of people too. So I want to kind of, not all of us are starting from the same position. It's complicated. It's incestuous. It's an entanglement. But that's not to say that Honor brought up something you didn't bring up anything that was offensive or anything like that. I'm just trying to make sure that the right person answers those questions. But Rose ain't the person, to me, in my estimation, to answer those questions. And I'm not going to sit big development questions. I'm not going to sit that on her lap. I think that would have been like an ambush. So that's the reason why I didn't ask anything specific. I don't think that she would have had the bandwidth, nor did I anticipate she'd have to answer that. But they were valid questions, but perhaps not for Rose. Let me see what you said in the chat. You said Rose is an important perspective to share. Yeah, you did. I think it's less about undermining it and just like we can get singularly focused. And this is someone who does. Like I can get so myopic, right? I did it with the influencer culture, the Black influencer culture here in Charleston. I got so myopic that I lost the bigger picture, right? Which is don't vilify unless you know, you got a Black influencer literally working to uphold white supremacy by co-signing white supremacists, you know, in certain, like, unless it's really like, oh, you out here causing harm, right? But I got so singularly focused that people like David White caught astray when my intention was to interrogate the culture, the pervasive culture. And I think too, the thing that I resisted, and I've spoken at length about this in terms of resisting, like, I don't want to be punitive, right? Like now Winslow Hasty can get all the smoke because we know what time it is with that. And then you might be saying, well, Tamika, you're picking and choosing. Yeah, I think my judgment is sound. Those who actually wield real power and influence will get all the smoke. But a young lady who's was an associate organizer with CAJM is not going to get that smoke, right? I don't want to do the same thing I did back then, that mistake I made with David White, with the whole influencer culture and gentrification. I don't want to make that mistake in other areas. If that makes any sense, I hope that doesn't sound like bullshit spin. I hope that just sounds like this is the kind of judgment call that I'm gonna make. Let me see. I think it's great the viewers can put out, yes. And I love that y'all added to that conversation. Yes. And you know, I'm gonna do better and Honor, please do not let up. L. Hancock, do not let up anybody. Do not let up, but let's practice mindfulness too. And like, let's make sure we understand like when and where, but please do not let up. Please be you, be raw, be unfiltered, make these conversations uncomfortable. But let's also, what's important, and I just facilitated along these lines last week with the Philadelphia Gender Justice Group. We have to do better with, and Honor, you actually helped me with this. We have to do better with analyzing power dynamics in Charleston. Not just interrogating power and going after the powerful people, but we have to also be able to make distinctions in terms of who has power, who has influence, and who's just a cog in the wheel, a cog in the machinery, right? We have to really be able to understand power better and who are the power brokers versus who are the people participating in an imperfect system, right? And I think that once we make that analysis and determine who really holds real power and influence, then our question and answers can kind of like be more in line with the conversation that we're trying to facilitate here. Okay, I'm gonna stop saying that. Good morning, little mama. LQJ says, I'm sure CAJM is not perfect and asking questions and pushing the group is necessary, but CAJM also feels closer to what can push. Absolutely. I think you nailed it. Let me read it without saying it absolutely in the middle of it. LQJ, you looked it up in the chat. Oh, let me just flip it. And then I'm gonna get off this real quick. I'm gonna close that out. Let's go to CAJM's place. Shit, let's see. All right, so let's have this up while we're talking about this. LQJ, you said again, I'm sure CAJM is not perfect, and asking questions and pushing the group is necessary, but CAJM also feels closer to what can push elected officials and makeup, and the makeup is more diverse than most spaces. Good morning. How you doing in Florida, girl? I see you on the art show, little mama. D, you chimed in. Love your sharing your growth and appreciate your feeling you feeling safe to be. Yeah, thank you. Was that to me? I guess you're talking to me. Yeah, you did. You put me in there. Okay, got it. Yeah. I really want to. This is a challenge. This is supposed to be a rigorous space of thought and whatnot. I think there needs to be more of a Socratic element in some of the spaces that were designed to talk about justice, talk about racial justice, social justice, housing justice, right? Joy, you dropped in the chat just now. The whole conversation is great. Your community is here because we trust your judgment and how you handle things like this. The way I see it, Honor asked a great question. You recognized the question and made the correct decisions on what. Thank you so much. Joy, are you a teacher? Or just really just a dope? Like the way you crystallized it was good. Like, I really don't want to let none of y'all down. I hope y'all hear that in my voice. Yo, you getting cold? Look at Joy. And Honor knows how much I value. Honor is a lot. Like I am Honor. Honor is me. I'm out here like. But where that money come from, though, I've been doing that forever, like intuitively, and now more so now, like literally just go ahead and trying to investigate the thing. But like Honor is me. I am Honor, and I just. It's such a crazy. Charleston is so small, but there's so much money and so much power here, and it likes to pretend it's like a small podunk town. And it's not. It's so not. And you cannot have your history. You cannot have the history with the transatlantic slave trade. You cannot have your history with the plantation economy. The birthplace of capitalism literally was birthed through a black woman's body on these rice plantations. Like you can't live in Charleston and know the history, know how Charleston got his prominence, got it, whatever it is. You cannot know that, and you can't sever its past from its present. And so the way that power works is a lot similar to how it used to work during the darkest times in our country's history. But Joy, I appreciate that. Yeah, I tried to just kind of like, and then when this thing grows, y'all, and I get a producer that's in-house or whatever, we'll be able to lift up questions, and I won't be able to do so much because that part of it is too also producing this show in real time, making sure everything else is clicking in place. So I appreciate you recognizing like I have to be quick on my feet. Yeah, let's do it, and let's and hold me accountable if I miss. If you think look. I might be in. Let me tell you something. Let me make eye contact with y'all. I am deliciously human. I might be interviewing somebody I might find attractive, or I might be interviewing someone I love to kiki with. I might be interviewing my brother. And if I say some fuck shit and you see my eyes are just either all hearts or stars or somebody, and I'm like, oh, you're awesome. Check my shit. This accountability shit is two ways. So if I'm soft on somebody and you like, Mika, you had all that smoke for Winslow Hasty, but you ain't had that smoke. You ain't had that smoke for such and such. Like I want y'all to keep it like, but yeah, it might be a very interesting, compelling face that I'll interview. You're like, Mika laughed a lot. Mika showed all her back teeth. Why was she laughing so hard? Why is she smiling like that? Like, so keep me. I'm being funny, but seriously, keep me honest, please. As Megzy has put on the track list for the 41 Savage album that will debut in 2022. Keep me honest. Yeah. All right. So let's go to I'm going to go to the CAJM post and we can keep talking. I think it's important. I really want to know though more about this housing fund situation. Real talk. All right. So this is the post that Rose helped to create with Treva's assistance. Shout out Treva. All right. The Smallest Hearts Club, right? Like the whole Grinch theme. Right, so it's calling out certain elected officials. Right here is Dickie. Is it Schweers? Okay, let me see. Herbert Sass, Brantley Moody. All right, I'm gonna read it though. I just wanted to go through all of the graphics first. Okay, so it says. Let me read the caption too. Is that it? Oh no, there's no big. It says Dickie Schweers, District 2. He recently stated in the Post and Courier that he'd worry about selling the county downtown property, the county downtown property to build affordable housing because of the impact it would have on the value of properties nearby. Meanwhile, he lives in a house on the water in McClellanville, valued between $680,000 to $1 million. Dickie seems to be disconnected from the lives of real working families. I'm sorry.
Now listen. That's called motherfucking bars.
So that's bars. So what I want to say, I'm going to kind of circle back to what El Cool J, I think you dropped in the chat about like CAJM. This is the like seriously, we going to get to the nexus of the money, how the money flows. We'll get that on a later date. But who's doing this outside of this loudmouth chick right here? Not saying I'm the only one doing it. I'm not asserting it. But you know what I'm trying to say. Like, who really is giving it to you raw? Like, no chaser. I don't see any organizations calling out. I don't see any organizations doing leading Nehemiah actions where you bring up elected officials and get them on the record on film. I don't know who else is doing that. I don't know who else is doing that. So the funding, we're going to get to the nexus of that eventually. But this right here, this is interesting. Now, you might say, if the funding is fucked up, then it's all kabuki. We'll see. But who's calling out these people and making it plain right here, right? I think the campaign is effective. Please bring down the value. Right, exactly, right? We're fine with that. Please bring it the fuck down. Okay, real estate expert in the house. Brandon. Okay, Brandon, you just dropped in the chat. Sometimes it feels like this issue, all caps, in Charleston. It feels like this is the issue in Charleston with the way the money and the power is set up. I'm constantly struggling with looking for a perfect solution versus accepting a step in the right direction. Come on. So Brandon, you and I have not had a conversation, but please let me know. Please let me know if you'd be willing to come and join as a guest on Mic'd Up. Just anything you want to talk about around housing. But you're right? I'm struggling with looking for a perfect solution versus accepting a step in the right direction until the solution is found. Or so you can be a part of to I'm gonna keep using El Cool J's like the closest thing we have to what we want to see other nonprofits model. Can we push them? Can we push them to divest from philanthrocapitalism? Can we push them to divest from some sketchy funding sources? Or is that the goal? Or do we push them to move until they break it? Because I ain't mad at that either. What I mean by that is okay, let's say I step into a role where I'm the ED of let's just say I'm ED of CAJM. Sorry, Treva. Let's just say I'm executive director of CAJM, right? And Treva just was inherited $1 million and went somewhere to Hawaii. She didn't get fired or nothing like that. But let's say I replace Treva at CAJM. I'm going to break that shit. I'm going to break the fuck out of it. Not to say Treva's not breaking it, but maybe there's some people in there who okay. But I'm gonna make sure this money get to the people. Are there organizations that are filled with little co-conspirators or little revolutionaries or big revolutionaries? Are there, and I'm not saying that CAJM isn't, I'm not familiar enough to know, but maybe there are people within that have the analysis that Rose has. Rose sounds like she has a sound analysis on how capitalism works and how NGOs work, right? Maybe there are a bunch of Roses still at CAJM ready to continue to use the power they've amassed, the trust they've amassed from the public, they've earned from the public. Maybe they're gonna work so hard to push it until it breaks. And by break, I mean that you start to really piss off the wrong people, right? I don't know if that's possible, but I hope it is, because that's what I do. If you hire me, and I thought that's what Cypress knew, if you hire me, I'm gonna break some shit. It's like that scene in The Town. I don't know. That's one of my favorite movies. I know I'm problematic. One of my favorite movies is The Town, starring Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner. But that scene where he said, "Hey, I need you to come with me. I need you to hurt some people." And then Jim, the character played by Jimmy Renner, he takes it too far. And in the car, that scene in the car on the right, he's like, "I can't be out here hurting people like that," right? That's what Ben Affleck says. And Jim says, "You brought me." That's me. People said to me, "God, I didn't know you was gonna talk that hard. I didn't know you was gonna say that. You brought me. You brought me." Yeah. Okay. I got you. Okay, I got you. I thank you, Honor. I'm gonna pull it up. Okay, let's keep reading. Let's keep reading the graphics real quick. So that's Dickie Schweers. All right, here's some clarity. To be clear, the deed restriction does not mean the county itself is building affordable housing on the Morrison property. If they follow through with the plan, it means the county will be limiting the future use of the property by requiring it be used for attainable and workforce housing. They have not defined what attainable or workforce means. Okay, goes on to say with Herbert Sass, District 1. I see no need to put a deed restriction on this property. We own it and control it, and nothing happens on the property unless we decide. While Sass does a good job meeting with community members and hearing them out, his voting record continues to show us. We've seen that on City Council. His voting record continues to show us where he stands, which is not on the side of affordable housing. So you got that. All right, so tomorrow they're meeting tomorrow, so we'll probably recap this tomorrow, have this conversation, continue this conversation tomorrow, Wednesday. Brantley Moody, District 7. All right, that's some of y'all's boy, right? He characterized the potential deed restriction as wrecking the market value. Oh boy, wrecking the market value of this property. You know what wrecks the the lives of actual human beings? Not being able to afford our next rent payments. While Moody makes chicken soup to take to the market value. What? I'm sorry, the font is fucking with me a little bit. Excuse my French. All right. Not being able to afford our next rent payments. While Moody makes chicken soup to take to the market value. Okay, to nurse it back. Oh, to take to the market value to nurse it back to health. He continues to ignore his very own constituents, the majority of, all caps, who voted in favor of the referendum to spend taxpayer dollars to build affordable housing through establishing a housing trust fund. We think it's downright sad that during the holiday season, when so many of us celebrate joy, family, and the value of human life, we have some county officials completely fine with our high rent payments and eviction rates and seem unfazed that so many of our fellow neighbors are homeless. We have a tight race for county council members with the smallest heart. Okay, keep reading to see. Okay, I just did it backwards, right? Oh, no. Okay, it says big news this past Thursday. I guess I did it backwards. Or posted it backwards. I don't know. Big news. This past Thursday, after a heated debate, Charleston County Council voted to put deed restrictions on 6.5 acres of land that they own on Morrison Drive. Council members Darby, Johnson, Middleton, Pryor, I got you in the chat, and Weirman all voted in favor, while Honeycutt, Moody, Sass, Schweers all opposed the move. Okay, so we got it. All right, and we're going to go to some reporting on that too right here. Let me see if that's it. Yeah, this acre of land. We're gonna read this here. Let me see what's up in the chat. Okay. No, you're not. You good. Brandon, you good. You good. You better talking than you think. Definitely. So, Joy, you said earlier, I want to lift this up. And I got you, Honor. I'll peek at what you sent me on Facebook. Joy, you said we need both kinds. We need folks who are going to break shit. Yep. And we need folks who are going to take what we can. To keep leaning into pressure. Right. And I think that doesn't even mean moderate. Honestly, like moderates give me the heebie-jeebies, but I don't even think what you're saying is moderation. I think you need all kinds. I think you need wrecking balls, and you need other more tools with finesse, right? Scalpels. That's it. That denotes that communicates precision, right? A scalpel, to wield a scalpel, you have to be hella precise, and I think we need that as well, right? What we don't need is folks who throw their hands up, right, and say we get what we get, which is like exactly, Joy. A lot of leadership is like that, kind of just conceding to defeat. Yeah, B-Man, you dropped something in the chat in response to Buzz in response to Joy Buzz's comment. B-Man, you agree with Joy? He says we also need to work together with imperfect organizations that are pushing in the right direction. Yeah, and look, B-Man, the magic trick on that is which ones are acting like, oh, I don't like that fake hand wringing, like, oh gosh, gee wills, but there's some people who are performing being perplexed. They performing being, struggling with, or they performing the whole struggle with. Some of them are just maintaining the status quo. So we definitely want to keep Letter from a Birmingham Jail at the forefront of our consciousness, right? Because you know how I went off on Friday about the lack of white political will to do anything, especially when left up to their own devices in that room around, with the room that I was in that was supposed to talk about historic preservation with absolutely no people of color contributing to the conversation in North Charleston, in black ass North Charleston. So we see how people who love to uphold the status quo operate, and Rose spoke to that, right? How do we get people? How do we not just fight for incremental change? There are times and instances, and I would say the housing crisis here in Charleston. I would say the displacement of those in low income public housing in Charleston, the displacement of those folks. I would say the assault on public schools. I think those are all urgent issues that demand immediate action, that it's not about incremental change. But of course, when you enlist the help or you join in on an effort led by a CAJM, right, you understand that those organizations are built to do a certain thing. Perhaps built to do something long term. You know what I mean? They're built to do a certain thing and travel a certain way. So how do you join up with a CAJM that already exists, already has a culture, already has financial ties, as Honor has outlined, or suggested? So like, how do you do that? How do you push for more than just incremental change and moderation? You feel me? Because I don't want y'all to get too comfortable with moderation now. I don't want y'all to get too comfortable, too cozy with that shit. Not saying you are, B-Man. I'm just, I think there's certain issues here in Charleston that demand immediate response, holding the police accountable immediately. Common sense gun laws that help not just protect, citizens, but given the domestic violence record here in this state, we need better laws to protect people, protect women and non-men, right? There's a whole bunch of things here, right? Wrecking ball, scalpel, right? It's in the same toolkit, but don't. And those who are in a position to, those who enjoy privileges that can afford to lose a little bit more, they need to be doing that. They need to be actually positioning themselves to where, okay, this is a risk. This is something that's going to cost me something. If you don't learn anything from this, like last week's, my emotional appeal to y'all about like showing up in an all white space, being the sole person of color to speak about the power imbalance represented on that panel, as someone who told you how violent that felt, please understand that all I'm looking for is a couple out of 100, a couple of people to stand up in real time and say, hey. And we don't mean that literally stand up and say, hey, like Norma, what is it, Norma Jean? Like we just need you to stand up and do something, if that makes any sense. Right? Joy, you dropped in, y'all just spitting bars. Joy, you dropped, yes, especially in Charleston, we're focused to work with nonprofit industrial complex, but we need folks who are willing to be uncomfortable as well, right? Comfortable as hell asking questions and holding folks accountable, especially if you got privilege to forfeit. Let's read the story a little bit so we kind of get a grasp of the issue outlined by CAJM. I think CAJM has done an exceptional job outlining the issue and what's at stake. They've been very active over the last couple of weeks about this housing issue, right? So let's just read from this story. This is this is David Slade. Yeah, David Slade from November 30th. Okay. The City of Charleston's Housing Authority is offering $1 million for an acre of county-owned land on the Upper Peninsula, where it hopes to build affordable housing for people with low to moderate incomes. The county has been talking about affordable housing, said Don Cameron, director of the Housing Authority. The county has this property, and it's a great opportunity for the Housing Authority. Let me see if CAJM is mentioned in this article, because I remember reading a little bit of this with y'all, but justice. No, CAJM is not mentioned in this article. Okay, let's see. Okay, I want to skip down to parts that are, let's keep reading. Shit, it ain't that long of an article. Is that it? Oh, no, it is kind of long. Okay. It's kind of lengthy. Oh, yeah, it's meaty. All right. So initial response November 30th from the number of county council members was less than enthusiastic. I think I read that to y'all. The land is part of more than 6 acres Charleston County owns at 995 Morrison Drive. The remainder of an 8-acre former auto dealership the county bought for $1.5 million back in '96. To house some county offices. The county earlier, I know those offices, yeah. The county earlier sold 1.5 acres for more than $5 million. And for months, county council has been debating whether to use the remaining land for affordable housing or to sell it to the highest price possible, which we hearing what that's about. So Council Chairman Teddy Pryor said he'd like to see the county designate the property for affordable housing and then seek proposals from potential developers. Wow. Minorities and poor whites are being run out of the city in droves, he said, Teddy Pryor said. The hospitality people got run out because they couldn't afford the parking. And then housing got too expensive, right? So you can't, and Rose talked about this, people just not being able to afford to live here. If we're serious about affordable housing, then the county needs to take the lead, Pryor added. We needed, I don't always agree with Teddy Pryor, but I agree with that line. We need to come up with something ourselves. In September, Pryor and fellow Democrats Anna Johnson and Rob Weirman recommended the county put a deed restriction on 3.3 acres of the property, which is about half the land the county still owns, requiring that affordable housing be included in any development there. Full council hasn't acted on the recommendation, right? The 4 Republicans on the 9-member council have advocated selling the land. So that's important to understand. The 4 Republicans on the 9-member council have advocated selling the land to the highest bidder. Councilwoman Jenny Honeycutt said property taxes that should result from developing now exempt land could be enough to fund local affordable housing. Someone brought up earlier about the CARES Act money. So why aren't they building affordable housing, period? Especially if someone dropped $80 million from the CARES Act? The county believes the entire property is worth $30 million. Let me say that again. The county believes the property is worth $30 million. And Honeycutt said there's already an offer on the table. Now that's one to watch, right? I think the city's offer is nice, but doesn't reflect the value or potential for the property. So Honeycutt has a profit motive on her brain. I'm gonna switch real quick because hold up. I don't want y'all to see my inbox on Facebook Messenger, so you get to look at my face. As I search my Facebook Messenger and see what Honor sent me. All right. I hate Facebook. Let me stop saying I hate Facebook. Let me stop saying I hate Facebook and say Facebook is a perplexing place and I don't have an enjoyable experience on Facebook. Okay. Let me download, save image. Boom, bow. Okay, close Meta. Okay, switch. In the chat, let me see. B-Man, totally fine to be critical and push better as long as we don't write folks off. Yeah, B-Man, can I say that? I know you mentioned that earlier, a little bit earlier. You're right. I think even me, I'm trying to figure out one thing Cliff Albright taught me when I worked for Black Voters Matter was we don't throw our people away. He was speaking specifically about black people because, there's a lot of shenanigans going on, right? It's a lot of shenanigans going on. And I'm learning, but I learned a larger lesson about not throwing away people. And you just have to really figure out, we have to really work on discernment, and not waste too much time with people who we know are not about that, who don't have a black liberation, don't have a black liberation analysis, right? All right, or some other type of anti-capitalism analysis. Yeah, it's a tricky balance, is what I'm trying to say. So this is the graphic that Honor mentioned in the chat in the Low Country Housing Fund convening partners, Charleston Metro Commerce, and we know that these are. It's almost impossible and I know this is probably why people get frustrated with me. It's almost impossible to find an organization that has not been infiltrated by certain funding sources or certain power brokers like Anita Zucker, like Ben Navarro, and so on and so forth. And I think I need to do a follow-up to the Anita Zucker piece, because I think I got Ben Navarro pretty good, but I still don't think we have clarity on Anita Zucker. And I'm not saying we as me, but like, I don't think we really understand who she is and how much power she actually wields and where it shows up. And I'm seeing it show up in places that are really interesting and intriguing. And I'm seeing it show up in subtle ways that I think is more of a long game strategy with Anita Zucker. And so I'm keeping my eye on a number of things. And I think this is what Honor pushes me to do, is to interrogate, like not just interrogate power, as I often say, but to really just understand the origins of some of this power and this money. So the Low Country Housing Fund, these are its convening partners, Metro Chamber of Commerce, which is a big red flag. The other red flag here at the bottom, South Carolina Community Loan Fund. I don't know much about that, but I see right here Ben Navarro. So Ben Navarro, Intertech. Right? No, Intertech is Zucker's thing, right? Right. That's a Zucker company, right? So when you have this type of money and influence, and you look at the board construction of some of these nonprofits, and you see who's prominently placed on the board, it really makes you think long and hard. And so also you have CAJM is up here. You have Trident Association of Realtors. You have Low Country Alliance. This is LAMC. Y'all know LAMC. Y'all know Metanoia. LAMC leads some really innovative work around environmental justice, right? But the two big call outs here on this graphic is the Metro Chamber of Commerce, and of course, right here, this Intertech company, right? Here we go. So supporting partners. So you got a red flag on Reverend Nelson Rivers. Long story. Yeah, I get it. I already get it. I already know. I already knew this. So Reverend Nelson Rivers is the pastor at Charity. Again, we're looking at, we're looking at, well, at least Honor has compiled this to look at, some conflicts. Charleston Promise Neighborhood. Yep. No bueno. Y'all need to look into Charleston moves, because I got some questions. Coastal. We know what Coastal's about, right? And some other things, right? So this is again, Honor, you made this graphic. I'm assuming either you made it or you just put the stop signs by that's Zucker right here. Trident United Way. Y'all can't see that. Trident United Way is Zucker. Cradle to Career, Zucker. Right? Okay, let me read it. Y'all are really B-Man, you going off. Okay, so B-Man, you dropped in the chat regarding the $80 million in July. Charleston County Council approved a broad framework. This is for the CARES Act money, for presumably for affordable housing. So you say a framework for the money that included catching up on backlogged public works projects, expanding services in rural areas, improving housing security, and addressing flooding and drainage issues. A list of ambitious goals that $80 million will not complete, but could improve. Potentially giving extra pay to critical staff was on the list. And then B-Man, you went on to say the county has not explained how, that's important, the county has not explained how the $3.5 million for housing stability will be spent. But county council did meet behind closed doors on August 19th to discuss the potential purchase of the property. The county's recent approved $271.6 million general fund budget included no funds for new affordable housing efforts. That's sad. The federal ARPA money comes from American Rescue, right? American Rescue, All right, comes from in addition to the county spending plan. Yeah, you did the stop signs, the graphic, right, screenshots from the Low Country Fund. I got you. Thank you for doing that. Honor, for real, thank you. It's not, thank you for doing that. And could you, cause you put, so Nelson Rivers is the chair of Trident, Cradle to, yeah, I got you. That's why that's there. Right. Okay. Can you, Honor, if you have the bandwidth to drop in the chat, tell me what the stop signs the note. Of course, we got Intertech here. We got, another Zucker organization here. Tell me what you were aiming to do with the stop sign specifically. Like, what kind of conflicts specifically? Are they all Zucker? Are they Navarro? Or, like, what are you trying to outline with the stop signs on this graphic, on the screenshot? And I'm gonna close that out. Because I want to make sure people understand what, it's a stop sign, but why are you telling folks to like think twice with that? It's really important. Let me see. Okay, I wanted to get a better story on not just the North Charleston spit. I want to kind of stay in Charleston. Even though North Charleston is in Charleston County, parts of it is in Charleston County. I wanted to stay with that story. Let me see. Now this was on the second. This is 30 million property for affordable housing, right? So let's read this a little bit. Yeah, so this is continuing that conversation. After heated debate that fell along partisan lines, Charleston County Council has moved to require affordable housing on county-owned Charleston Peninsula property that's estimated to be worth about $30 million. While the final vote is needed at a future council meeting, the Democrats, holding a 5-4 majority, all voted to put deed restrictions on the 6.5 acres of land on at 9. Right. So this is some of the response from Ms. Honeycutt. This is a cooked up backroom deal involving who knows who. Councilwoman Jenny Honeycutt, a Republican, said, I'm astounded by the lack of foresight here. She said that if the county sold the property instead of restricting its use, Honeycutt said that the $30 million offer on the table. Sweetie Bob, calm down, relax, chill out. As if y'all don't have money. Stop crying broke, because y'all not broke. It was a real pandemic for y'all. It was a pandemic for a lot of like governments. Y'all got a lot of funds. Take care of what you got on the table. The county could use the resulting tax money to fund ongoing local housing trusts, and then do what with it? Wait a minute. Councilman Kylon Middleton, a Democrat, said that putting deed restrictions on the county land is a visionary and forward-thinking plan. Councilwoman Anna Johnson agreed. Okay, I thought he was going to say something else. We're not saying we're locked into any particular thing, but we would like to see affordable housing there. Okay, all right. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Okay, going back to the graphic that Honor created, you're saying the stop signs are Zucker associated groups. I made the graphic when I was pushing back to a CAJM pastor whom I know and respect. I got you. Was trying to illustrate the corporate philanthropy influence. And I want to say thank you. Seriously, and I don't mean that in a facetious way or not like that. I really mean thank you, because that's difficult to do in Charleston, and there really isn't. Some groups got to pass, right? Some groups got to pass, right? CAJM and Metanoia, right? But it's really tough to do here, and it's thankless work. When I'll speak from my personal experience, constantly pointing out the problematic money sources or funding sources is difficult. Now imagine doing that and working for Cypress, which I thought was modeling something different. I get in with Cypress, and it's basically just a smaller family led, because it was co-founded by a couple, two partners. So I'm gonna consider like a family thing, even though my boss was the third. It was my boss and another member of the board who co-founded the Cypress Fund, right? Let me see. I haven't done this before. I know y'all probably saying, can we get on to this? Oh, that's not it. Okay. So let me see. Okay, so here's about, right? So when I was recruited heavily by this person here, I drank the Kool-Aid, right? So here, this is how the jargon, the progressive jargon is mad problematic because you get caught up in the jargon. So Cypress is not what, to me, Cypress, I don't even want to cause harm. I don't want to cause harm to the partners and some of the people who I respect on the that do work with Cypress. So I'm gonna keep it cute today. But the leadership is fundamentally flawed and unjust. And not because I got fired, but because how I got fired is more so their values. So Cypress Fund was created in 2019 by a team of organizers and donors rooted in North and South Carolina. Now, I led the Giving Project, which is kind of like in but not of. They've removed all my work and my face and my likeness from it. But the Giving Project, why I like the work that I was recruited for is because I was not organizing donors. I had nothing to do with development. I was teaching folks how to resource themselves, right? Even though you have this person right here featuring herself prominently, she hated the Giving Project. And follow the story. Okay, follow this story. It's still a story time. Not about my firing per se, but it's almost like divine, like something divine happened. Just follow my story real quick. So I was recruited heavily by the ED of Cypress Fund well over a year ago. I joined Cypress Fund, and it was because we were making, Cypress Fund is a different type of fund. It's not traditional philanthropy. It's change, not charity. It's different. Let me read some of the stuff that I was trying to emphasize. Cypress Fund was created in 2019 by a team of organizers and donors rooted in North and South Carolina. We share deep belief that the best solutions from our communities are built through people-powered grassroots organizing and led by Southern folks who are deeply impacted by the conditions on the ground. Additionally, we have been inspired by the multitude of social justice funds across the country that are promoting social change. So basically, Diet Ford Foundation. All that jargon is just misleading, right? Because it really wasn't that, right? So Cypress had and I'm just being candid because I want to do what Honor was kind of doing with CAJM. I did this after I left Cypress and I did a little bit during, but it was really, I was conflicted. Like, this is how I pay my bills. This is how I pay my rent. This is how I get my health care. Like, if I question these things, and I didn't get fired for questioning these things. I got fired for starting to poke holes and starting to get to the point where I felt like I needed to question some things a little bit more astutely. And so what I realized that, so funds like this and initiatives like this sound so perfect. And this part was a lie. What was the honest truth? What was good work? I'm gonna be real, and you're gonna say, well, to me, it's because you did it. No. The Giving Project was all about teaching people to resource themselves. So if I have a cohort of 20 people and they all ran the gamut in terms of class, right, which is what happened at the Cypress Fund, the people I recruited, and I was helped to recruit too. So I had millionaires in my cohort, and I had cash poor, people who could identify as cash poor. So it ran the gamut out of this 20-person cohort. You had millionaires, people who inherited wealth, all the way down to just blue collar, grassroots organizers, yada, yada, yada. They ran the gamut in terms of race, faith, all of that, right? There, we were not using funds. We did not go to Ford. We did not go to Kresge. We did not go to any of the big old names, right, in philanthropy. We did not go to, it was about teaching them how to identify white supremacist practices, how to divest from philanthrocapitalism, and how to create your own systems in the radical tradition of what we've seen in the South. So I leveraged a lot of the history that was the civil rights movement in Montgomery, Alabama, the civil rights movement work that was done here in Charleston, South Carolina, the civil rights work that's been done in Durham. I leverage all of that history to say, hey, this is the blueprint, this is the model. Then you go out there and you teach a curriculum about class and race and all these different things. And then people go out and they raise money from their circle, not from the big muckety mucks. You literally go and you make that appeal to maybe your coworkers, your family, certain people you're in relationship with at work. I felt really good about that work. Now, I still work for Cypress, and Cypress still gets its money from Soros. Cypress still gets its money from CCF. So I'm in an imperfect system, but I feel really good about the work I'm leading, right? Does that make sense? I'm not trying to say that I was the best person or I was innocent. I was complicit. You can argue that I was complicit if I'm an employee of Cypress, and if I have an ED here who is less than honest, just say mendacious, like she didn't live in the South. She lives in Queens, right? full-time, lives in Queens, doesn't live in the South. I was the only employee that lived in the South. Roz lived in LA, and, not to put her business out there, but she lives in California. I was the only employee that lived in the South. So it was built on lies, right? So that house of cards is if it hasn't fallen yet, it will fall. But I was proud of the work I did with the Giving Project, right? Because we organized outside of Cypress. There was a whole nother network, and I'm sure that network isn't perfect either. I know there's not, but it was different work. And so I'm bringing all this up to say, like, it's really hard to like find a perfect, like, I really thought this was it. I said, oh, this is perfect. This is it. I could do all the social justice stuff. It ain't no strings attached. And then I'm like, oh shit, Darren from CCF is at the, wait a minute. I'm like, wait, hold up. We get how much money from this wealthy family in North Carolina? Like, you start seeing it, and you're like, oh shit, I'm in the same fuck shit that I'm talking about divesting from. And it's really difficult. It's really difficult. So personality conflicts aside, my boss being a liar aside, this woman right here being a liar aside, it really is difficult to really, like, unless you're grassroots and doing it. FOGC, to my knowledge, we haven't taken any funding. We definitely haven't taken any funding. We ain't got no funding. We ain't got no funding. It's all grassroots led. We sell T-shirts. We raise money. We ask for donations. We speak, and we get honorariums that go right back into the collective. That's the only work that I felt like is grassroots. But even Friends of Gadsden Creek Incorporating was an overall decision, because we didn't want to be a part of the nonprofit industrial complex. But we had to if we wanted to wage this fight. Fight this fight against the city and subsequently sue them with the help of Scalp. If that makes any sense, right? Yeah. Let me get back to the chat. Bandemic. I know I'm a mess, Joni. Hancock, you said we have to watch those bids from construction firms. And I love that you keep lifting that up, El Hancock, because that's important. Look at those bids from construction firms. If they decide to build, going back to the housing, if they decide to build on that property, absolutely, they will take the lowest bid from the sketchiest firm to save money. Okay, Nicole, you said the structure made sense. Supporting grassroots groups, helping them gain knowledge and helping themselves. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Little mama, thank you for lifting that up. Yeah, and like it's just, and like, look, there are a bunch of organizations. I'll say, like, Cypress wishes it could be a CAJM. Does that make sense? Cypress wishes that they could pack a whole Mount Moriah church with hundreds and hundreds of different people from different faiths and different churches and whatnot. They wish they had that type of power. They wish they were. I feel like CAJM does model a lot of things that other organizations could emulate. They're not perfect. They're not perfect, and I've had my criticism over the years, but they do something that's very important. And a lot of organizations can't even catch up with that. But I also want to, like, one question I've always asked: why is CAJM so appetizing? Like, why is a group like CAJM so appealing to so many people? Why, like, they've gotten, like, CAJM is a legitimate leader here in Charleston, and I think it's a fair question to ask, like, why are people drawn to that work versus why aren't they drawn to the work like being led by Friends of Gadsden Creek? Like, does that make sense? Not to say that people aren't, like, we're relatively new, we're still working, like, all that stuff, but, like, you have to ask yourself, like, why is a CAJM always looked at as like the example versus like a Friends of Gadsden Creek or a Low Country Action Committee? So fill in the blank, right? I think that's an interesting question. That's a question I have, an honest question I have. Yeah. This went in a different direction. I love it. I want to get honor. I want to say thank you for lifting up the questions and concerns. Want to again say thank you to Rose, who was a real one for agreeing to a last minute request to speak. I think that was really important. Trying to think, is there anything else I want to hit up on? Oh my gosh. That's so silly. Oh, I appreciate that. That was just so sweet. I'm sorry, just reading that tweet again. It really helps. So yeah, I think I might leave it there. Woo, I'm a little exhausted. I think I'm gonna leave it there. What is this? Yeah. I don't know. Thank you, El Hancock. I appreciate that. I got to give you a nickname. I'll end on. Let me see what I want to end on. Speaking of NGOs and philanthropy not saving us, Jesus, Andy Brack. Andy Brack. Yikes! I don't know if Brandon's still watching. Andy is just this. Shout out Anna, you sent me this. I know you don't mind me mentioning this because me and Anna had this conversation about an article in the Post and Courier, a book review at that in the Post and Courier. And there was a person who authored the piece right here, Mr. Simpkins, who is the president of MDC, a big ass nonprofit in Durham, North Carolina. And so it's funny that Simpkins is in this Brack report and also in the Post and Courier in the same weekend. It's really interesting what's being done. And of course, MDC, who's the chair of the board? Darren Goss from Coastal. So that's all the way up in Raleigh, that's all the way up in Durham, North Carolina. But I'm telling you, CCF got his hands in everything. And so it was really curious to see Mr. Simpkins in not one, but two publications here. And he is a Charleston native, a South Carolina native. I think he's from Charleston. So I get it. The relationships are there, but it's interesting that he made his way into the press on two different publications. But this was to me was a very old timey take about like nonprofits saving us. Thank you so much, little mama. Little mama, thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times over. Thank you so much, little mama. I appreciate it. D, you said everything you were talking about helps you make better decisions every day. I hope so. Yeah, but if y'all get a chance to look at the state report, Brack wrote this it was published on the 3rd. It says unite to protect America's democracy. It's really, to me, kind of like an old take. It's like a very classic ideals on what will save us, what will save our democratic institutions. It's not really founded in anything. Thank you so much. That makes sense to me. Yeah. Being in the pocket of billionaires will help extend your slimy reach. I'm telling you, ooh, joy. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to bring that up. But I guess I'll do this since he wanted attention. Can I give somebody attention that don't deserve it? Sure, Tamika, you can do that. All right, so this knucklehead, y'all. Can I just say this? All right, so every so often, I tweet something. You know, and this was about y'all's favorite journalist, Quentin. So yeah, Quentin blocked me. Ain't no secret. I just decided to post it. It was funny to me. It was funny. I was going through all the people that blocked me, like including an ex jump off. If you don't know what a jump off is, Google it. Hip hop jump off. What is jump off? Ex jump off banned me too, right? And so, not my boyfriend, a jump off. So I just was like, I just wanted to post the men that blocked me. I just posted 2 men that blocked me, right? So I posted this, and then this dude, right, super irrelevant. I know I'm giving him oxygen, but it's funny to me, because I'll land on this funny note. But this dude right here, it just too much. It wraps up. It sums up my experience in Charleston. Whenever I talk about anything political, somebody lame like this, but it also like in that room where crickets. After I say a thing and no one stands up and says, you know, hey Mika, I got your back, and you go girl, or nothing like that. To me, that experience and this, they actually go hand in hand, right? Meaning that I know that I evoke a certain response in a lot of people. I know a very specific response. I ignite, evoke, whatever, evoke. Like there's a certain response from certain like white men specifically. And I know that much of what Jimmy says publicly is what men have been saying behind the doors. I call myself a bridge burner because Michael Wukala said that I was a bridge burner, and said that the black male clergy didn't like me because I was a bridge burner, right? Then Jimmy, when I tweeted something about SCETV, Jimmy, like I don't even know this dude. He just chimed in and started like coming at me, and like they love this. And like Rose said, it'd be funny how like certain people are called hateful or bullies. It's just really interesting. So Jimmy is irrelevant. I don't know why he follows me. And why you follow people you hate, Jimmy? You're irrelevant son of a bitch. So like, so he supposedly, allegedly, I don't know. Allegedly, he's a South Carolina political consultant, opinion journalist, former MSNBC. Please show me the Carfax. Of course, a Citadel grad. I don't expect anything from a Citadel grad. And this is like your white liberal go-to. I'm all these things. And look, stop signing at racism. He's racist as fuck. 23,000 followers, I guess, whatever. Yeah, I don't know how much of that is real. I don't know if he bought them, but whatever, right? Senate staffer. Somebody said that he was a former lobbyist. But yeah, just the gumption to kind of follow someone you don't like and just tweet. And that's how he makes that's how he probably gets his following. But it was just really interesting. And shout out to all y'all who chimed in on that bullshit. Cause he's just mediocre. Like I said right here, white men been telling me this for years, further proving how unoriginal you all are. Unprovoked attack shtick is a cornball move, but I know how hard it is for you to get. And that's the thing. We're living in this world right now. We're living in a certain climate. You saw that, D. We're living in a certain climate where this is the go-to move. And I want to just kind of say, like, I don't know if Tom was doing it intentionally or not, but Tom, the B-Man, the comments that you were kind of dropping in the chat earlier about the imperfect and about aligning with organizations that at least are do the least amount of harm. It also speaks to that larger culture that I try to push back against, that culture of like rigidity and one-upsmanship and rigidity and one-upsmanship and outraging each other. That's what Jimmy does, and it's easy. If I wanted Charleston Activist Network all of his social media accounts, if I wanted it to really ring off, believe me, I'm in community with way too many blue checks that would have got it popping. Case in point with the Southern Charm thing. I didn't engage it the way some other people would use it to get to a level of like notoriety, whatnot. I don't want to get my follows that way, right? But there are people who only can create relevancy through crisis or through controversy or through this Twitter pylon. It's some of the things that I think some of these old outmoded comedians are railing against is like, oh, they're able to get their their pitchforks and torches and just lead a mob of some of what they were trying to say, what's his name? Dave Chappelle did a horrible, he's not even he's just an old grumpy cornball to me. Was really great and funny, kind of funny now, but not really at all in the last recent specials. But I think that's what they're trying to address is Twitter is this place, social media can be this space. Thank you. I don't know who you are though, 151. Who are you? I don't know. You said my response had you rolling. Who are you? I'm like, cool, 151 664. But no, yeah, it's just that Twitter is this place where you can see what people are trying to get clout. It's like, y'all gonna get on a Sunday morning, as I'm setting my fantasy football lineups, you want to get clout off of Quentin Close-Up's block. Quentin Close-Up's blocks everybody. Quentin Close-Up block everybody. That's the one that gets you energized. But see, that's the thing. And there's nothing, it's so funny that someone who touts all these liberal beliefs and I'm against racism and I'm queer, so that means I can't be racist or discriminatory, all that bullshit that he kicks. It's just really, it's really crazy that that would get him up in arms, or that you would attack a black woman. But I know that what Jimmy says, to be real with you, I think he was being honest. I think he thinks I'm hateful. But this is how this is how when you burst out of that mold that they've set for you, this is the reaction. When you resist the offers to just be a janitor, to be a housekeeper for their nonsense, for their neoliberal nonsense, when you resist or when you refuse the role of social justice mammy, when you don't have effusive praise for every part of the media, right? And then the other part is, why are you getting in black people business? Why are you getting in? That's black people business. Why you care about who I publicly disagree with or not? Why are you in that? But you a colonizer, right? Anyway, All right, so I think I'm gonna leave it there. I appreciate y'all support. I appreciate the subs, Australia Fuega and Lil Mama. Y'all are awesome, holding me down. More to come tomorrow. Yeah, old time you take some Charleston out. You're floored. I know, right? Brandon talking about Andy Bragg. So bad. So bad. Oh, you Mikey. Hey, Mikey, how you doing? I got you. Yeah. Okay. I remember you, Mikey. I got you. Yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mikey, for checking in. Now I know who you are. All right, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for listening. I want y'all to know a good little status update. Y'all, the viewership is going up, which is important, right? To support this work, of course, the subs and the bits and all of that, and the Patreon, it goes a long way. But honestly, getting this live stream on the radar of as many people as possible is the goal. Getting over 75 concurrent viewers or average viewers is really a goal of mine, and we're getting there. I'm at 22 average viewers, so we got a ways to go, but every day, every week, I'm seeing strides, and I'm trying to be more mindful and stop thinking about things I don't have, like, oh, I don't have 100 viewers, or I'm not written about in the local media. I'm working on being less transfixed by what I don't have and preoccupied with what I don't have, and really being mindful and thoughtful and moving in a spirit of honest gratitude, not performative gratitude. So I want to say that the views have been going up. The open rate on the newsletter has been positive. I'm getting more and more positive feedback in real time. I was just at Early Bird Diner. The owner of the establishment, shout out Dexter, came over and greeted me and shook my hand. It means a lot to really make connections with my community. So thank you. Shout out Early Bird Diner. Y'all know y'all responsible for about 2 of these rolls right here, because them cinnamon waffles is the truth. But Early Bird Cafe, Early Bird Diner rather, or cafe. Good God, Early Bird. And places like that have been really helpful. People, just the community, people coming up to me, Tanner at Trader Joe's, Nicole, not a little mama, but other Nicole, they always see you at Target. I love when y'all say hi. Thank you so much. We're trying to build community. A lot of y'all keep saying, I can't watch the live stream live. I don't always expect that. Just go back and watch it on demand, either on Twitch or on YouTube. I appreciate you. Please share this content if it moves you, if you think it's productive, if you think nobody's gonna mind some F-bombs and some Funkmaster Flex sound effects. Go ahead and share the live stream with some people. We got something for everybody. Progressive thinking. So I just want to say thank you. Brienne, I'm trying to be honest and real with my gratitude. Like I had to work on it. I was just asking for feedback so much, like last month. Like, okay, why is it not working? What's not working with you? What do you don't like about my? And I'm like, Mika, what you got? What you got? I've got a really dope community, and people are starting to talk to me in public about my show, and that's really what I'm like. Okay, forget the data points per se. Keep making the connection with people, and that's what we hope to do, especially with the book club and some other events and activities planned to break out of this beautiful box here in my apartment. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. If we watch later, does it help your numbers? If you watch later, I think the video on demand stuff, yeah, those analytics are there. But I think I really would love for people to watch on YouTube. Now, it's a different experience. Sometimes I watch things that have copyrighted material in it, music or documentaries or movie clips, and those have to be edited out. But for the most part, you still get the experience. At least you get what I talked about, and you'll get the interviews and all that. But all of it helps. All of the eyeballs help. And sharing it with gently sharing it with people who you think might like it. Allie's been doing a great job with that. B-Man does a good job with that. A lot of y'all share it. So I appreciate it. Hey, Island Vibes. I see you already doing that on YouTube. Yeah, I'm trying. Yep. Keep going and keep growing. Thank you, Island Vibes. Remember, Island Vibes, super dope DJ, but also made the Mic'd Up t-shirts that y'all purchased and supported. I still got a few I need to sell. But yeah, thank you. D, you said, yeah, because you realize when I share on Facebook, folks aren't friends with you, right? And they can't see the Yeah, I noticed that too. And that's probably what's hemming me up on Facebook. But then again, I don't like Facebook. I don't know. It felt like Facebook just was not, even when I opened up the settings on my account, it felt like people just weren't receptive to it for whatever reason. Yeah. I understand. Yeah. Okay, wait, it says we can watch hold on. Are you asking a question? Let me see. Little Mama, you says we can watch the former streams on YouTube. Abso-fucking-lutely. So you will go to, oh, look right here. Oh, look at here. With this X-Men-like gray streak. I'm gonna mute her. But yeah, you go to the Charleston Activist Network channel on YouTube. I have 186 subscribers. Shout out, it was 161. We're gonna take all of those small strides. So here you see most of them. The couples that sometimes there's some live streams that I don't put up, but most of them that's very rare. I think I missed one. I think I missed one or two last week, but you have most of them up here on YouTube. Damn, it's a lot. And remember when I used to stream it? So this is when I used to stream it live right here. Look at the beginning. Started from the bottom. Look at the beginning. Right? Remember when I used to face the kitchen area? So yeah, those are the old ones. And my face looks pretty there. Yeah. So they're all here. Also, if you go to CharlestonActivistNetwork.com, I placed them here too. I haven't updated this one, but you've got this. It just takes you straight to YouTube. This is just YouTube thumbnails, right? So you go to CharlestonActivistNetwork.com. If you don't want to do Twitch, you don't whatever, go through the app. You can also access it here. It's just Twitch. It'll take you right there. As right now we're doing a little Inception thing. So it's me looking at me, looking at me, looking at me. And it's a chat over here. So you can go to the website, right? And then access the podcast and all that too. So it's super, super easy. I really do appreciate the support on YouTube, especially watching those things. I'm touring with the book club. I need to get the book, but always make time to read. I know. But I still think, Joy, to your point, I still think you can still be a part of the discussion. I'm one of those people that I'll watch a discussion about a book that I didn't read. I did that with Cast. I watched, there was some online book clubs or online like the Schomburg or something like a Schomburg or the New School would talk about the book, and I just would learn more about the book there. So it ain't like it's a pop quiz and a shit like that. Ain't no pop quiz. Not to curse like I'm cursing at you, but ain't no pop quiz and nothing like that. I really think the conversations that I'm going to try to facilitate with the book is more important than actually you getting through the book, if that makes any sense. Right. Yeah. So yeah. I'm shit. And D Bartlett, I got Little Mama sent me the book and I'm listening to it at the same time. And underlining and going through and folding down. Yes, I do both. I listen to the book and I'm dog-earing pages and all of that. It's that real. Absolutely. Yeah. We can sum it up for you. Yeah. No, I don't have D. I'm trying to work on what makes sense. I'm trying to get the day. I'm trying to figure out how to do how do I stream it? How do I stream it on Twitch and facilitate in public? I'm trying to figure it out. And I've done this before. I've had book clubs that were filmed before. I did it at Harold's Cabin way back when. When I asked that question, they was like, "You should definitely ask Harold's Cabin." When I did it with Itinerant Literate, Harold's Cabin, Denmark. What was that? Oh, is it 18? Was it 2018? Yep. Yeah, Food for Thought. This was the event on the itinerant literate. So Tamika Gadsden conversation with the authors of Demarvici's Garden. That was back, June 2018. And like, I don't know, I think this wasn't, I did a podcast there. I recorded though. So I brought in a producer to help me. This was before I knew how to record my own. So I had a producer come in and record the conversation for my pod, and I made it a podcast. But this would have been also something where I could set up a camera, have this conversation with the panel, with the authors of Demarvici's Garden. But shout out Itinerant Literate, y'all. I love them. Have not been to Turning Page yet, but Itinerant is in Park Circle is like my favorite shop, and they know my name is like Cheers. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out. I want to hit up Harold's Cabin, but I don't know logistically if that's possible. I don't know at all, and I need to hurry the fuck up though, because we got to make it happen. Yeah. I'ma stream it. You can stream. Yeah. Oh, you can stream it. No, I'm gonna figure it out. Yeah. It's gotta be a virtual option. It's gotta be. Well, Omicron and things like that, it's gotta be a virtual option for people who don't quite feel comfortable, being masked and, showing proof of vaccination, stuff like that. Like we got to have we're still in that space where we have to do both virtual and in person. Like we got to walk that line. So anyway, thank y'all for I ain't new to this, but it's still like, it's hard. Doing things on remote is difficult. So I'm just trying to figure it out. All right. So I appreciate y'all. We'll talk tomorrow. Thank you so much for everybody who contributed to this conversation. Again, thanks to Rose. Thanks to Treva from CAJM. Really appreciate them making time and really scurrying to make sure that I had someone to speak to CAJM's efforts in fighting for affordable housing. We're going to get better. We're going to hold each other accountable. Okay. All right. See you tomorrow, 8:00 sharp. Share the live stream. Bye. Love y'all. Bye.